it is going to get deep, guys. Always the traumatic events that were just pushed under the rug. It is going to get deep, guys. Well, for one, let me just say, I woke up with such a spirit of gratitude today. I woke up with such a spirit of thanksgiving in my heart. I'm telling y'all, if y'all have not heard of Miranda Curtis, you have to check her out. She is an amazing artist. She's a gospel singer, and she is so anointed. Like, I can listen to her song and literally feel the presence of God. So if you have not heard of her, Miranda Curtis, go and check her out. She is absolutely amazing. But like I said, it is going to get deep only because I want to bring to the table part 3 of You Were Designed with Purpose. In the last video, we talked about a lot of things, but we kind of ended on how sometimes it is those negative thinking patterns, cognitive distortions, that derail us from our design purpose. We also left off talking about how trauma is another key factor to why so many people either run from their purpose, or they're derailed in their purpose, or they deny their purpose, or for whatever reason they're not fulfilling their purpose. Sometimes that is a really big factor into why that is what they're experiencing. So trauma is a really hard thing to talk about anyway, just because trauma has never been an easy subject to just bring to the table. Actually, it was always the traumatic events that were just pushed under the rug. Push it under the rug, act like it did not happen, act like it does not exist, and is going to die there and nothing's going to become of it. That is absolutely incorrect. Whenever you stuff something under anything, whether it's under something, inside, you try to push it away, try to ignore it, you best to believe it is going to come knocking back at your door. And the sad part about it is it comes back knocking 10 times harder than it would have knocked if you would have dealt with it then. Now, that's not to say that being able to do that is an easy thing. Like we talked about before, being able to really identify what you're feeling and what you're thinking and the effects that something is having on you personally, sometimes it's really hard. It's not easy to just be able to say, I am feeling this and this is why. Or it's not easy to say, hey, this happened to me, and it be something easy to talk about. So I'm not saying that it's easy at all, but it is easier to actually have the conversation about it than to stuff it under the rug and act like it did not exist. Or the other thing that people tend to do is they have a traumatic experience. They persuade themselves into believing that they have gotten over the experience, that they don't think about the experience anymore, it's not affecting them at all. And for some that may be true, but 9 times out of 10 is not true, only because, once again, if you do not take the time to process something, it has the opportunity to continue to manifest in your life. And just because it doesn't show up like, hey, this definitely has to be a connection to this, it can show up in ways you have absolutely no idea. Someone who went through a traumatic incident as far as a car accident, if they don't deal with those emotions, or even sometimes when they do deal with those emotions, there are certain things that's going to come up in their lives that is connected to that situation that they would have had no idea that it was a part of that. So, for example, if I was in a terrible accident, or even if I've seen a terrible accident, and for maybe about a year or two, I have some kind of reservations for getting in cars. I'm a little bit fearful of driving. I'm a little fearful of the road that I was on, or I'm a little fearful of the highway. Whatever the situation may be, you experience some fearfulness. Well, it's been a year or two. They can say within themselves that, I've gotten over my fear. I'm no longer afraid. I'm pretty much done with that. I'm healed from that. I'm delivered from whatever that was. And they're going through life, and there's times in their lives where they can hear a sound and they get freaked out, or they can be in a position where they have to stop really hard, and just anxiety overtakes them. Those are the kind of things that I'm referring to when I say that things can just randomly come up. Now, for those who are not able to really delve into processing traumatic incidents, you are more at risk of situations to come up that is more related to that traumatic incident. So just a little of me, and what I referred to in my last video is I did not realize how much being bullied in elementary school really affected my view of myself, the world around me, and other people. This was one of the first situations that I can identify that really caused me some trauma. I am a people pleaser. To this day, I am a people pleaser, and that is not a good thing. It is not a good thing in my opinion. For me personally, me being a people pleaser, I know most definitely it stems from when I was bullied, because during the time that I was bullied, it was like a game they were playing. It was like 4 girls in particular. They knew that I was kind of quiet, that I didn't really fit in anywhere, that I didn't have any friends, and so they decided that they were going to be my friend. But it was like a game they was playing, because it was like one day they'll be my friend, the next day they wouldn't be my friend, then the next day they're like, oh, we best friends and let's do this together and blah blah. Then the next day they're talking about me, spreading rumors about me, all this crazy stuff. It was very back and forth, and my silly self chose to believe them every single time they told me that we were friends again. So they would suck me in to basically tear me down afterwards. It was crazy. This went on for literally all throughout elementary school, and I felt like such a fool the whole time, but all I wanted was to be accepted. I wanted to be received by those I went to school with every day. I just wanted to be a part of something, and unfortunately I was tricked into believing that I can really trust people that I couldn't. It wasn't until there was a new student in the class. She came in and we became best friends. But because we became best friends, of course, they tried to win her over to be on their team. Well, for a long period of time, she just stayed my friend. And so they started bullying her too. And my mom had to constantly come to the school. We would constantly be in meetings with the parents, and it was just crazy. And her parent couldn't be there, so my mom would come for both of us. Well, I guess she got tired of being bullied, which as anybody would. And I wasn't wanting her to be bullied too. It was just the fact that, because she was my friend, she decided to go through that with me to a certain point. Well, she decided that she was going to switch up on me, and she was going to basically go to their side, and she started picking on me too. She actually started picking on me the worst out of all of them. She was the one that I actually ended up snapping on and actually ended up fighting. The only fight I've ever been in my life was towards this one specific person. And it was because my feelings were so hurt. You know, my mom, you know, she took the time to advocate for both of us. And, you know, she just decided that what we had was not as great as what they could offer her. And so she started picking on me literally every single day, just saying terrible things about me. You know, I would go home, I would cry, and I would cry, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go from here. And I remember going to my mom, and you know, I said, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm done praying. I'm done believing in God. I'm just done. I'm done with everything that comes along with anything positive. Nothing is working out for me. Everything is negative. Nothing seems to be changing. And she is looking at me. My mom was looking at me, and she was like, just pray one more time, baby. Just pray one more time. I said, I don't understand the point. He's not hearing me. I pray every single day. And every day they're doing something new. I'm getting in trouble. I can't focus. I was getting terrible grades. Terrible grades. I was not sleeping. And when I was sleeping, I was having bad dreams. Like, it was just so chaotic. My life just seemed to be so chaotic. And I was like, God, I'm believing in you. We were going to church all the time. I love the Bible. I love being in service. I love the praise and worship. You know, like, I was really believing in God. I was really putting my heart into my belief in God. It was like God was my best friend. But at the same time, it was like, okay, I don't understand how you are my best friend and I'm believing in you and you're allowing this to happen every single day when all I'm trying to do is be accepted. My mom is still looking at me, and because I'm going off at this point, you know, not rude, anything towards her, but just out of frustration. I was talking out of frustration, and she said, baby, just go pray one more time. Get down on your knees and pray one more time. My mom was a very spiritual person, and I'm thankful for that, because, you know, a strong spiritual foundation will literally lead you through life. Even during the times when you are disconnected, if you have a strong spiritual foundation, you will find your way back. I am a living testament of that. Well, that's a whole nother video. But anyway, she told me to get down on my knees and I can pray. I was in my room and I was praying, and I was just telling God that I am tired. At this point, I was tired. This became an everyday thing, everyday routine, and I was just tired. And I said, I am sorry for even the thoughts that I'm having towards you, but I don't understand why you're not helping me. I said, if you don't help me, I'm not going to make it through this. Well, I got finished with the prayer, and I promise you guys, I felt like there was a peace and there was a calmness that just filled the room. I was able to be vulnerable with God. That was one of the first times I was able to just be completely vulnerable with my God. And it was one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had, because I came to him so distraught, but I left with so much peace. And I guess I just left with a whole different perspective, as if I had a choice in the matter, as if I had the authority to change my situation. So going to school after that was kind of like, I had a toughness about me. Not a big toughness as far as like, I'll beat you up, come step my direction. Like, no, it wasn't like that. But I was able to separate my desire to be connected to them with my desire to be connected with myself. It was a complete change. I didn't care about what they were saying. I didn't care about what they were doing. But it did take this one time. It was the last thing this girl had about me. This is the one who was my best friend. She decided that she was going to taunt me literally for a whole day. I kept praying the whole day. I was like, Lord, she's really testing me. I said, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go. She had pushed me or shoved me against my locker, one of those two. And I told her, I said, you know what? I'm done with this. Meet me outside after school. Now, y'all, I've never been in a fight in my life. So, was I saying this? Yes. Was I believing it? Yes. Was I going to follow through? Absolutely yes. But can I say I knew exactly what I was doing? Absolutely not, guys. Anyway, I waited to that bell ring. I've let all that has happened to me the whole time fester up. And I couldn't even focus in class, of course. I was thinking about after school. I have all these memories coming back to my head. All these things that they said, all these things that they did to me, all these things, all the ways they betrayed me. I had all this going on in my head. And I can feel my strength building up, my strength building up, my strength building up. The bell rang. I went outside. I stood at the corner. Because, if you own school grounds, you'll get in trouble. But if you're off school grounds, you won't. So I literally stepped across the street so I would not be on school grounds. That still didn't work. And I was waiting for her. Now, during this time, I was supposed to be catching the bus, y'all. So I'm like, this girl don't hurry up. I don't want to have to walk home. I don't want to have to fight and then walk home, but I'll do it. So she finally came out there, talking all this smack, blah, blah. I promise you, I must have blacked out because I don't know what I did. All I know is that when we got to school on Monday, I didn't have anything on me. My mom actually didn't even know that I fought anybody because, the principal, of course, they came out there and broke it up. And it was like, y'all going to be suspended. We're going to call your parents. You're going to be expecting a call from us. Of course, I got scared, but whatever. There was nothing on me. My mom had no idea that I got into a fight until that Monday morning. Well, Monday morning comes and people are coming to me like, did you see so-and-so? Did you see so-and-so? What did you do to her? What did you do to her? I said, I didn't do anything to her. I told her to be ready, blah, blah, because I didn't see her yet. I didn't see her after the fight because they broke us up and I had ran to get on the bus. So I didn't see the girl. And they call us over the intercom to come to the office. And I am sitting in the office scared as crap because I already know that they called my mom at this point. And I am sitting in the office and she comes in the office and my face dropped. This is not to be boastful. This is just to say that the strength that I built up was beyond what I ever thought that I could. And I looked at this girl and she would not even look me in my eye. And of course, it was very disheartening because at one point, she was my best friend and she was in the same boat with me. But she decided to jump ship and she chose her direction, and I decided to defend myself. After that day, I changed school for one because I was heading into middle school. And after that, my life completely changed. I had more of an awareness about me. I had just more of a strength about me, more of a confidence about me. But I can say that that traumatic incident, all that I went through in elementary school, it still shows up today. I have horrible communication skills. For one, because I stuffed all that stuff in. Even though I was telling my mom some things that was going on, I wasn't telling her everything that was going on, of course, because I was afraid. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. And in my head, they were still my friends. Negative thoughts, cognitive distortions. Even then, in my young age, when I had no idea what a cognitive distortion was, a negative thought pattern, I had a negative kind of distortion then that really deterred me in my life. And it allowed me to really believe and accept something that was not true. And I lived it as if it was true. So in my head, they were still my friends. So I was very bad at communicating. I stuffed everything inside. That was the first start of it. And I started shutting down. And still to this day, that is a cognitive distortion that my mind still tries to make me believe that that's the best thing for me to do is to shut down to protect myself. Also with that, like I said, I am a people pleaser because I wanted to please them all the time for it to be accepted. I went about my life even after that trying to please everyone. Even though I did have some backbone to me, I didn't have enough to combat some of the things that I just say yes to because I'm either afraid or I don't want to upset anybody or I don't want to hurt anybody or things like that. I don't have very good relationships, intimate relationships. Like for this part, this is something new to me. Like I said, I was in a really deep conversation the the other day with my boyfriend, and we were talking about a lot of different things. He was telling me a lot of different things that I wouldn't have necessarily just thought about or took accountability for. And that was one of the things that was brought to my attention, is that I very much so live as if I am an individual within a relationship. And I tend to do that because when I was being bullied, I was a part of what I thought was a friendship, but I was constantly kicked out of it as if I was an individual. So those things still show up, because even though I fought the girl, I only fought the one girl, and I think this is why, because I really do feel like after that prayer, I was released of all that, but I never confronted the other ones. I never confronted the other ones. I only dealt with her, and I pretty much put everything that they did into her, really. And so there was still some things that I come to find out that I still had to really process. I still have to process about the trauma that I experienced at such a young age when it came to being able to effectively communicate and have positive relationships. So that's just some background about me, and just some examples of how trauma can really deter you from your purpose, because it can cause you to take on an identity that is distorted, that is literally distorted. Many people, because of their trauma, they live a life that they wouldn't have lived if that traumatic situation did not happen. You guys know, you see on what's them shows, CSI and things like that, and you see all the time where a female or even a male was a product of molestation or rape, and it's only two things they do. They either close down, they close themselves up, or they become sexually active, or they become prostitutes, or they get involved in human trafficking. And like all these things, that can just be a product of them being taken advantage of when they were younger. So they're living a purpose, or they're living in an identity that does not necessarily fit into their God-designed purpose. But let me say that carefully, because I am a proponent of believing that everything does happen for a reason. And that is hard to accept. That is really, really hard to accept, because it is hard to think in your mind that that traumatic experience was designed to fit into my purpose. That in itself is a hard concept to believe, because many people choose to believe, or it is popular to believe that a God who is all-knowing and all-seeing would not let something that terrible happen to someone, that he said he loves. I hear that all the time, and like I said, sometimes we put ourselves on roads. I'm not saying we put ourselves in the position to be taken advantage of. I want to make sure I say that lightly. But sometimes we do put ourselves in predicaments where we are in the wrong place at the wrong times. So there are some things that we have to be accountable for some of the decisions that we have made. If you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, and something happens, you can't necessarily just say, God let that happen. God let that happen. No, be able to be woman enough or man enough to admit that I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, or I put myself in a position to where I may not have been if I was either obedient, or if I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, or if I followed my gut and not went to this place, or I followed my gut and if I would have been obedient to my parents instead of trying to be rebellious. There's so many things and so many factors as to how we can literally position ourselves outside of the position that God would have us to be in. And so trauma just has a way of really just taking over a person's mind and really causing them to think outside of their original desire. trauma in your life, I'm pretty sure that if you look deep into it, you can see some of the effects that it's still having on you today. Even if you really have been able to go to God, or if that's not even something you believe in, go to someone who you really trust in, and get that out and process that with them. You know, even in the time that you have accepted your past or your present or whatever it may be, you know, there are times when, unfortunately, there are still effects from those things. I see a lot of this now that I work with, addicts, addicts who are still in active addiction and addicts in recovery. I see cognitive distortion all the time. It's usually an addict is struggling with the relapse. It shows up before a relapse, during a relapse, and even after a relapse. You know, I'm always going to be an addict. I'm never going to change. People see me this way anyway, so I might as well keep doing it. People believe that I'm this way and I'm this way, so I might as well prove them to be correct. My life is not worth living. The world will be a better place without me. Like, these are all the things that is going around in their heads, because they're living something outside of what they feel they are destined to live. I don't think the mindset of an addict was that I'm going to use enough to become an addict. What is happening is that there's not enough education as to how an addict becomes an addict and how addictive drugs are. But they trick themselves into believing that addiction is all they're going to have, addiction is all they're going to be, because addiction is the only thing that's keeping them sane. I do this because it's not true at all. But their drug will allow them to believe that this is giving me peace. This is taking me away from my trauma. This is allowing me to avoid all those things and emotions that I don't want to feel. It's giving me a high. It's taking me to a place that I don't have to deal with all this. If I can just use, I'll be okay. As long as I have my next fix, I'll be okay. They're literally living in a cognitive distorted thinking pattern. And they're allowing themselves to live outside of the purpose that was originally designed for them. Now, will their story, can their story be a part of their design? Absolutely. I believe that God works out everything for the good. I really do believe that. And if that's not your belief, that's okay. But just to bring about the point that trauma can really deter someone from their purpose and keep them out of their purpose longer. It's not until you can really look within yourself, look to your higher power, look to a person that you can trust, and really start to process the trauma that you have been through, for you to really be able to get the healing and deliverance that you need. I'm going to be doing another video called Healing Your Inner Child. That was also another topic that was suggested to me that fit perfectly with what we're talking about today. Trauma. How has my trauma affected me? What are some things that I haven't been healed from yet that is affecting me in my personal relationships, that is affecting me in my career, that is affecting me as an individual? What are some of those things that I can reflect on and really pinpoint to that it was during that time that my life took a different path. And now I'm at a crossroad, and I'm having to figure out within myself, which way am I going to take? Am I going to take the road of my divine purpose? Am I going to see how even my trauma fit into my design purpose? Or for the addict or the recovery addict, am I going to stay on the road of recovery, or am I going to let my addiction, who was waiting so patiently to capture me back? What am I going to do? What road am I going to take? What life am I going to live? We can all live life. It's easy to get up and just do whatever. But are we doing things that's making us feel complete? Are we doing things that's promoting self-confidence? Are we doing things that's promoting change? Or are we just living? Are we living with the hurt and the pain and the abuse and the trauma, the cognitive distorted thinking? Are we living with that? Or are we going to allow that to bring about a change and literally lead us into our purpose? Once again, y'all, this is part 3 to you were designed with purpose. You were simply designed with purpose. And like I said in the last video, everything that you need to complete that purpose is literally within you. You don't have to look everywhere outside of yourself to find your purpose, because God designed you with the purpose. It's already there. It's already there. It just takes some time to be able to move away the cobwebs. If there are some things that you have not dealt with in your past that is really showing up in your life today, that's really causing you a downfall, I challenge you to start removing the cobwebs, to start going in to those deep areas of yourself and start to heal. That's the journey that I am on right now. I am positioning myself to really start healing from some of the things that I've been through in my life, really starting to heal from even just some of the things that have happened these last few years of my life, and really starting to just grab hold and gravitate to what's ahead and start to leave all the other stuff behind me. Because if we continue to carry the baggage of the old, we have no room to carry anything new. We're already bogged down. We're bogged down. We're weighed down. Or we have just negative energy. There's no room for anything positive. There's no room for no other direction, because you're carrying the weight, carrying so much weight from the past. It's really time to let that weight go. I remember I was talking to my pastor one time, and blessing just to have someone watching over you and have someone praying for you on your behalf. But I remember he came to me and he said, Vanessa, he said, you carry so many things. He said, you are literally like, it's almost like, he gave me this scenario. You are literally sitting in a jail cell that has an open door. A jail cell you're not even supposed to be in, that you put your own self in, and you're sitting there with the door wide open, and you're just staying. You're just sitting there in all your misery and in all your pain, and the door is open. The door is open for you to just walk right out. You're not even supposed to be there anyway. You put yourself in a jail cell that you're not even supposed to be in, confining yourself, and the door is wide open. Why can't you just walk out those doors? Just walk out the doors. You have people that's on the outside of the door that's going to support you, that's going to love you. And you choose to sit there. You choose to sit there in it. And that was so real to me when he said that to me, because I knew it to be true. You know, when I sat and I would shut down and I would not say anything, it was literally mental and emotional torture. There was nothing productive about it. It was definitely something that I did not want to do. It just became something that I did. And I literally would just sit in my misery. I'm going to be putting out a whole video of shutting down in general, because I know that that's something that a lot of people deal with. Now that I have gained more knowledge of it and I am in a position to where I'm walking out of it, I would definitely want to be able to provide some encouragement to those who are dealing with that and is finding that to be a hindrance in their life. But I'm going to go ahead and close out this video, and if there is something that I've said that has caused you to think differently, praise God to that. If there's something that you want to leave in the comment section below, please leave your comments. If there's something that you want me to bring to the table, something that I discussed within the video or something outside of the video, please leave it in the comments comment section below. I take my comment section seriously. You know, if there's something that you want to bring to the chill chat table, please put it in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, have a beautiful, blessed day.
If I can just press in your presence, behold the beauty of your face. If I can just press in your presence and never leave this place again. If I can just press in your presence and leave all my cares behind me, I will behold, I will believe, I will just lay at your feet, for I will behold.